map elements. What are the important parts of a map? Maps are very helpful tools. Map elements are the parts of the map that make it easier to read. Almost all maps use most of these elements. The basic elements are direction or orientation, scale, symbols, a legend or key, labels, a grid, and an index, title, author, and date. Look at these individually. First, let's look at direction. Direction is shown on a map by using a compass rose. Here you can see a compass rose. The compass rose shows the directions of the map so the reader can relate those directions to the real world. Sometimes the compass rose will just show north, but if you know which direction north is, you can easily figure out east, west, and south. Direction. Scale. Scale shows the distance measurements on the map. If a map is to scale, map readers can measure parts of the map to calculate accurate distances in the real world. So here you can see an example of a scale, and it shows you that this distance right here in black is 1 mile. So this is 1 inch. And if you were to measure an inch on the map you are looking at, that would be 1 mile in actual distance. Orientation. The orientation of a map is the relationship between the directions on the map and the corresponding compass direction. So which direction do you need to hold your map so that you can see where north is or where east is? So this is helpful to the reader so they can know the direction they need to travel. Date, title, and author. We often find that a map includes a title. This tells you what the map is about. You'll also find a date on the map. The date on the map is important because maps include changes. The world around us changes. So if you have a map from 2010 of the city of Aiken and a map of 2020 of the city of Aiken, they're going to be different because the 2020 map would account for changes that have been made since 2010. So a date is important to have on a map. We also have an author listed on the map. The author helps us to know or determine credibility. If I were to just draw a map for you from my memory of how I got from my house to this school, you may not want to use that as a credible map. So knowing an author sometimes can help us determine our credibility. Maps often use symbols and legends. Symbols are graphic representations that are found on a map. They can be dots, lines, shapes, or icons that look somewhat like what it's meant to represent. So here in this legend, you can see the red line is an interstate, the blue line is a U.S. and state highway. You can see that the railroads are here. You can see bodies of water in blue, or the blue line is going to indicate rivers. And then over here, you can see some different symbols to represent different things. And then there's some symbols to show what a public school looks like or what a private school looks like. So all of these are called symbols. Now the symbols are usually housed in the legend. So we need to know what your symbols mean. So you have to tell us, give us a key per se, which is what a legend is often called. So we'll know what the symbols mean. So the legend's usually a small box in the corner or on the side of the map, and it includes all of the symbols and their meanings. Labels. Maps often have labels on them. So here, if you're looking at this map, you can see that the cities are labeled. You have Stantonville and Crump, Savannah. You also have some lakes that are labeled. Pickwick lake. You also can see states that are labeled. Here you can see the Tennessee and the Alabama border, Tennessee and Mississippi border over here. You also have these green labels. These are identifying specific places that you may want to go if you're in this area. You've got the Shiloh National Military Park. So labels are words that identify locations. They show something with a specific name. They can also represent something that might be the only one of that. So there may only be one military park in this area. So they, rather than making a symbol for it, they simply just label that item. All right, how about a grid and an index? Not all maps have a grid and index, but it's a very useful tool on a map to help us find location. A grid and index is very common in an atlas or on road maps. So basically a grid is a set of horizontal, these lines running here, east to west, and a set of vertical lines, those that are going north and south. Sometimes maps use latitude and longitude to make a grid, but most of your smaller maps are going to use a grid with a basic number and letter system. So here you can see A, B, C, D, the same on the top, and then the numbers 1, 2, 3, same on both sides. So the index is going to help the reader find a specific location by using the numbers and letters in the grid. So for instance, if I wanted to go to Fernandina, I would go A and to 2. And there it is right there. Okay, so normally the index is going to be in alphabetical order so that it makes it easy to look up the name of a place, and it's going to follow the coordinates. Here we can see some examples. So here we have Espanola is at C3, so we're going A, B, C, and down 1, 2, 3, and there in that box you can find Espanola. Okay, how about if we try one over here? San Salvador, we're going to go to B2, so we're going A, B, and 1, 2, and there in B2 is San Salvador. So you guys can see how the index works. And all of these together are called map elements. And the purpose of map elements is to help make map reading more efficient and easier for the user.